Hello, everyone. This is Steve Panovski, a systems engineer over at UBX Cloud. I'd like to kind of spend a few moments to go over something that comes up pretty frequently during our sales discussions, and that is the usability and features of the Veeam Backup Agent. Being a systems engineer for UBX Cloud, I spend a lot of time managing and maintaining our private cloud clients and their backup systems. And I'd like to really showcase the capabilities of this magnificent piece of Veeam engineering. So I just remotely connected to a Windows server that has the current Veeam agent installed. And just to give you a little understanding of the product, the Veeam agent is a small piece in the entire Veeam availability solution. It is an enterprise-grade backup product for VMware, Hyper-V, and physical and cloud workloads. So one of the questions that I got actually asked today was, how the Veeam agent is deployed in an Amazon public cloud environment, or Azure for that matter. So the agent is installed. It can be deployed through Active Directory. It can be deployed through a script, or it can be deployed through individually on each particular server. There's multiple ways of getting the agent on the endpoint. And once the agent's there, you can tie it through our web-based management console, or you can tie it into your own Veeam console for management. Typically in our engagements, we are managing the entirety of the systems, and we just allow the console for the file restores and recovery options. But I'd like to take a few minutes and just kind of go over the features of this agent and kind of showcase its capabilities here. So I'm going to open it up in the dock, and you'll see here a history. This agent is actually sitting on this server. This is an Active Directory server, and it's taking backups. It's taking snapshots of the server every evening, and it's sending those snapshots directly to our private cloud environment. And as you can see, the status of each of the jobs in their previous history is nice and visually represented. I can schedule an ad hoc backup if I'm going to be doing a change management window, or if I wanted to just kind of jazz it up a little bit and start a backup in the middle of the day. And I can go through and I can actually customize the backups and review the schedule. Actually, looks like this endpoint's actually fully managed by us, so it's grayed out, but at least you can kind of see the options that you have. So the backup methods are that's deployed on this endpoint is actually the entire server itself. So we are snapshotting the server. So we're taking one large backup initially, and then we're taking daily incrementals. So the only bits that get changed during the day are the ones that get sent to our private cloud for safekeeping. The destination is actually our cloud repository here in Troy, Michigan, USA. We are the service provider. All the communication between the Veeam backup agent and our cloud repository is done over port 443 and on our end also port 6180. So for your purposes, when you're sending data out, we just recommend that you allow outgoing traffic on port 6180, and typically most environments will allow outbound traffic on port 443. The credentials are provided by us, the service provider, and we'll configure the endpoint on your end when we do the deployment. This particular agent is backed up to a cloud repository in Troy. In case for some reason, if our backup repository is queued, or if there is if it's offline for some reason, the backups can actually be cached locally, and this also specifies where the backup sits, and it can be resumed once the internet connection is established. Coming from an EC2 or public cloud environment, that's generally not the case, but for the most part, you have that capability if this agent is installed on a physical or virtual machine that has a disconnection of internet. Guest processing is basically the Veeam's agent will recognize if the endpoint is a database server or a file server, and it will enable the acquiescence of databases on that server. And then the schedule. So that's basically the period or frequency that I'm running the backups. And like I said, this is all orchestrated and managed either on the agent itself for smaller deployments, or through our console and portal on our end, or through the Veeam console itself. So that's pretty much it on the backup scheduling and settings. And then I'd like to actually just briefly touch on the restore options, which is pretty fascinating. So at this point in time, I can restore individual files directly from the agent. So I can query the backups on the cloud repository and query my restore points, which are right here. And Veeam does a nice job of kind of indicating, like, exactly how far in time I can go, and what's available to me, and whether or not it was a full or an incremental backup. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select 2 days ago from the cloud repository, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount that restore point. Now remember, this agent is installed on a server locally, and it's actually talking to our cloud repository directly over the public internet over 443. So the performance itself is actually going to be pretty responsive and pretty quick for doing something remotely over the wire. And it's nice because you don't have to download the entire backup set locally and then extract the files that you need from there. Your request is actually streamed from our backup repository and then deposited on the local endpoint. And as you can see, the file list just came up, and I can go through and I can select files that are on the file system, and I can restore them either in place, or I can copy them to the desktop, and I've got some flexibility and options there. I hope this short demo proves useful, and I look forward to kind of presenting more features of the Veeam Backup Agent and the Veeam Availability Console. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.